Am I enjoying my teens? And if not, what changes do I need to make? This is a scary question to ask ourselves. You see, there is something deep inside of our kids that wants to connect with us, their parents. In all the years of counseling and working with teenagers, I can say that every one of them wants to communicate, connect, and enjoy relationship with each one of their parents. When our 5 were all under the age of 10, I started observing those teen-parent relationships that were thriving and enjoying each other. Dan and I wanted to cultivate a great relationship with each one of our teens and our kids that would stand the test of time. What was different about those relationships with the parent and the teen just enjoyed each other and laughed together? What I observed was communication styles and this thought of cultivating versus controlling. Let me explain. Cultivating a relationship means I want to get to know who you are and cultivate and work on this relationship. Controlling means I want to change who you are. For us, letting go is so hard, and especially if our teen is so different than we are. Recently, I sent a message to a mentor, and I said this in regards to one of our adult teenagers. It is so hard to choose to not be controlling, to let them make their own wise choices and decisions. Yet control, for the sake of control, stifles those relationships. Now, on a side note, I'm not talking about boundaries or guidelines or guardrails. Those are so important, and establishing those is imperative. It's this foundation of morality that every family needs. When my kids were little, I was constantly interviewing parents who had thriving adult relationships. What was different about these relationships? One mom told me that when her daughters were in high school, one daughter had a 4.0, she served at church, and she was an artist. Yet this mom was so continually frustrated by the condition of her daughter's room. It was so messy. And one day she decided to let go of the mess and stop focusing on it and just enjoy who her daughter is. 15 years later, when this daughter grew up, her own house she kept immaculate. It was always neat. She's a great mom, and she continued in her art pursuit. And most of all, they enjoy this amazing mother-daughter relationship that stood the test of time. This is what we all want, isn't it? To enjoy our kids when they become adults. And daily, we are making investments in those later on adult friendships that we will have with our kids. We are cultivating for today and for tomorrow. So where's the miss? So often, we get stuck in focusing on the one thing that our kids aren't doing well. We are trying to control instead of finding out what's going on in their heart, what's going on in their minds, thus cultivating these thriving relationships and guiding and equipping them to make their own wise choices. Our oldest started high school 6 years ago. Wow, time just flew. At the time, 6 years ago, I asked Al Causey, a parent of thriving adult children, how do we help our son get good grades? What standards should we set? What should we require of him? He explained to me what he and his wife, Debbie, did. He said, we ask questions. The questions that he told me to ask were, what are you capable of? And what are your scholastic goals? And why do you have these goals? And how can we as parents walk beside you? These questions can also be used in sports, in hobbies, and goals that our kids have. Immediately, I just love this blueprint because it was up to our kids to own their own results, not Dan and I to put pressure on them. This model was a step of letting go and allowing our kids to make their own goals and to own those goals. What this did is it gave the control and gave it to our son, to our kids. It took away our expectation. He was in charge of his own success, and we can walk beside him. So when he didn't want to do his homework, I'd remind him, hey, remember those goals that you set for yourself? How can I help you in this? Well, 3 of ours have either finished high school or are in those upper high school years, and they own their own work and their own performance. No pressure from us. This model has worked with all of them and led to the results that we hoped for and that they thought that they could attain. But most of all, it strengthened our relationship. That's the goal, right? My high schooler had a friend ask him recently, don't your parents get mad if you miss an assignment or you make a bad grade? And he said, no, my grade is my responsibility. It's my responsibility to bring it up. So often, we as parents need to bravely ask ourselves questions. I say bravely because the answer might reveal changes that we need to make. And as parents, we are always shifting to cultivate relationships that will stand the test of time. Just when I think I have it all figured out, I realize I have totally missed it. I've made a mistake and I need to make changes. I need to even apologize, ask forgiveness, see where I need to mend the relationship. So here's some questions that we can ask ourselves to self-evaluate. Do I talk at my teen or with them? Are they engaged in the conversation and the solution? What does their body language indicate about our relationship? Am I growing a relationship that I can trust my teen to make those wise choices? What can I change in my tone, my words, my expectations to enrich our relationship? We as parents can be a source of stress in our kids' lives, but we don't want to be that. So we need to be willing to ask questions without getting upset or defensive, to walk beside our teens and to help lead them to wise choices. And just to let go of some of that stuff that really doesn't matter. We can enjoy our kids and partner with them while we are leading them towards wise choices, thus cultivating versus controlling. For more information on parenting moment by moment curriculum, or if you would like to host a workshop, please send me a message. I would just love to talk to you about this. We can make those ordinary moments extraordinary by the way that we treat each other and the way we interact in relationship.